Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star GT3 Pro-Am Championship for Season 19. We are here at Round 7, the home circuit of Kyalami here in mid-rand of Johannesburg. Amazing to be here finally. We've made it to around about the engineering side of the calendar. We've made it towards our home side, and boy, it is good to be back. We're going to pop over to qualifying here, as we've already started actually, and some of the drivers are already pulling in some fantastic times. Currently watching the driver Peter Meyer pulling in the fastest time of the race, currently 1:41.490. Currently the leading driver and the one to chase for everyone else. Chris Collison also setting a fantastic time so far, chasing him down in second, just 3/10 off of him. Vessel Voda also 3/10 off of him in that Gramadulas Racing Mercedes-Benz. But boy, oh boy, what an amazing thing it is to be back. Unfortunately, I did miss you guys and the virtual grandstand last week at Misano. We had a couple of technical difficulties on my side, and I was unable to actually bring the game. So unfortunate lack from my side, but it is okay. We're here at Kyalami. We managed to pull it back for the home race, which is what matters the most. And we are here for some very interesting racing. I think it's going to be action-packed tonight. All of our drivers here are very familiar with this track. I'm sure everyone's had plenty of laps here. We've had numerous mid-rand M570 Enduros. We've had Kyalami in our virtual 9 hours. Everyone has done their good fair share of laps here at Kyalami, and it's going to be a very good one to watch. The drivers are going to be throwing it around and giving it their all, as we've only got 2 rounds left here for the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star Pro-Am GT3 Championship for Season 19. And just a reminder to everyone in our virtual grandstand that the Pro Division race is also being streamed by the likes of Stephen Koenig. That is the RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet Pro GT3 Championship for Season 19, also at Kyalami. So last night we saw some very interesting spectacles at the sprint race. Obviously the 45-minute variation here compared to the championship series. So very interesting stuff. We saw no strategy being played last night, as no pit stops needed to be happening. But we did have a major turn 1 collision, which did definitely play a factor into interesting turns of events throughout last night's race. So very interesting things to see. And yeah, so we're definitely expecting some form of entertainment factor here for tonight. Everyone is going to be throwing it around here. As we know, there's only 2 rounds left after, well, 1 round left after Kyalami at the Nürburgring. So all the drivers are going to be putting it to the pedal to the metal here tonight, and they're going to continue doing it tomorrow night as well. But let's slowly start to look at how things are starting to shape up. We've got 7 minutes left of this qualifying session. Peter Meyer still sitting in first place for the Omnius Gaming PokerBet Porsche with a 1:41.1 now. Actually, Chris Collison following behind with a 0.1 second gap. Jairo Pretorius pulling up third for the Griffin Sim Racing Ferrari. Jairo Duplessis for the Gramadulas Racing Ferrari 296, but unfortunately he seems to have lost his Hornet style, the Wasp Hornet style yellow livery that we saw, and I have indeed synced all of our liveries for tonight, so we don't have to worry about that. Everything is in order. One driver I do want to point out though, for tonight though, Johan Bluknoot, a driver who is currently leading the championship, is sitting in 27th with no lap time set yet. So definitely keep an eye out for him. He's definitely going to be bringing a lap time in sooner or later. Don't know if he's going to be able to dethrone his teammate in first, Peter Meyer, but he has been the championship lead. He's currently leading the championship by about 60 to 80 points. So great stuff from him. We're actually going to go through a bit of a rundown for you guys. We've got a bit of a championship update to what is going on so far before the final round next week. So currently Johan Bluknoot sits on top with 283 points, followed by Gerrit Bukes with 203 points. Then Henry Platt in third place with 199 points. So there's a little bit of contention there that can happen for second place. Gerrit Pretorius with 156 points in fourth. Richard van Heere in fifth place with 153 points. And Gary Duplessis with 127, Rowan van der Walt 124, Arno Kraus with 117, Jason Landsberg 114, and to round up the top 10, because there is unfortunately a very long list of drivers here, we've got 107 points for Vessel Voda. So great stuff from the top 10. They've only got 2 rounds left to make it count, but we do have a very nice and long feature race ahead of us to try and make things up. So, we've got a whopping grid of 30 drivers here. Mark Henry in that Slick Racing Honda, as we know him, currently still sitting without a lap time. So him, Johan Bluknoot, and the likes of Bradley Searle, still sitting in pit lane actually, have not been able to set lap times yet. Peter Meyer also still sitting in pole with that 121.1. Not being able to actually be caught up by the likes of Chris Collison. Gerrit Pretorius also trying to contest and give a little bit more. But there is still 5 minutes left of this qualifying session, so we will have to see. Another driver to definitely keep your eye on is the likes of Henry Platt. He won last week at Misano while I was unfortunately away, so he's definitely someone who's worth the watch at Kyalami. He might be able to pose as a threat. Jody Seidman, who we saw last night as well, putting on a brilliant race in that beautiful, very, very darkish green McLaren. It gives it a very intimidating look. He's been throwing it around very nicely at Kyalami. He's going to continue to do so for the championship race here. So 1 hour and 20 minutes of pure adrenaline-filled racing here at RaceFace. It's going to be a very good one to watch. These drivers are going to be giving it their absolute all up until the line, and it's going to be something of a spectacular scene. We've got some championship changes that could happen going into the final of this race, and then obviously another race next week to cap it off and to see who can win that track experience that will be provided by Red Star Raceway to the winner of the Pro-Am division, which is absolutely incredible. And then obviously the big prize for the Pro division of 150,000 Rand, sponsored by the PokerBet, main title sponsor for the Pro division here at RACEFACE.PRO, which is an absolutely incredible scene to see. Currently the biggest prize pool for sim racing in South Africa to date, PokerBet being able to actually bring that on board and make it possible. So absolutely phenomenal stuff from them. So far nothing really updating with our drivers that we know. We know Johan Bluknoot still sitting in the bottom, and I think he might be trying not to set a lap time. We saw it in Misano. I believe I got a little bit of analytics from Misano that he didn't actually set a qualifying time. He sat rather further back and then actually played the game of pulling all the way up through the grid and having a little bit more fun. So, you know, maybe trying to flex a little bit of skill if that is what he is doing. Henk Petersen, also someone who've been watching out for hybrid racing Ferrari. He's currently sitting in the pit lane. Johan Verveers, also for the hybrid racing Ferrari. They've been throwing it around very nicely, the hybrid racing team. And then obviously the sister team that we know of, the team Tryout Racing, that would also be the likes of Henry Platt. Funny enough, I only found out last night that this is the sister team to hybrid racing. Team Tryhard being the more casual, more beginner-friendly team. And then obviously hybrid racing being the main team where they have the fastest drivers who are very experienced and very ready to try and earn themselves some points. We've got a familiar face in the back there, the livery man. I'm trying to find his name on our list here. That would be the likes of... Wow, of course I can't remember his name. Jean-Ray Buerta. There we go, the Team Corigma Racing Porsche. Someone who has designed a lot of liveries on board here. He's actually rocking a different livery. So that definitely shows you that he's the livery master. He's managed to pull out another one. And man, his liveries are great. He's going to continue producing them, and we hope to see him in Season 20 next season, which will be coming around the end of this year in 2024. So we hope to see him bring some absolute banger liveries following for the next season. So good stuff from him. Peter Meyer still sitting in first. Richard van Heerden pulling up into second place. The Green Hulk Ferrari up into second, decroning the second place position from Chris Collison, who's been moved down to third. Carrie Duplessis currently sitting in fourth, still for the Cramadulas Racing 5-star. Also someone who we've been keeping tracks on, who's down to 5th place now, 6th place actually. He's been doing incredibly well this season. We saw a couple of unfortunate races from his side. We saw the poor Ricard. That was, funny enough, round 4. That was almost half a season ago, and we are almost at round 8, which is just a speculation to show you how fast these kind of things go. They disappear very quickly, and we have to take the opportunity to see the amount of action that these drivers do indeed provide us. So great stuff from them so far. Carrot Pretorius, also the Griffin Sim Racing Ferrari, doing incredibly well. Henry Platt still sitting in 8th place, unable to try and set a faster time. Johan Viviers actually trying to come and put himself up there in the top 3, just 0.04 of a second away now from Peter Meyer, doing an incredible lap time, 1:41.235. So he's taken second place away from Richard van der Heerden, and that has just booted everyone further down the list, pushing everyone further and further down. Staffan Herodian, also someone who we've been watching in the Trialdi Competizione Ferrari. He's also had a bit of a challenging season in the backside of the pack, and he's had a fair share of fights throughout the race, but he's only got 2 rounds left, and he's got to push until the end. Gavin Scruton, also one of the Team Tryhard Racing drivers. He, I believe, joined us a little bit later on in the season here in the Pro-Am division. He did not, unfortunately, make it for the first couple of races. I believe he was busy, and he did decide to join us further on, but he's also been doing incredibly well, keeping that car nice and consistent. Jakob Schrebler for the Saki Boss Ferrari, being hunted down now by Vessel Voda, who's also trying to set a lap time, so a little bit of feuding going on over there. Vessel Voda looking to try and overtake him. They've got 20 seconds left now for this qualifying session to try and get any position needed to be taken and finished, and that is exactly what they're hoping to do coming around for the final couple of laps here. So 8 seconds left of qualifying. This will be their final lap, so no more lap after this. So unfortunately, Vessel Voda's lap will be contaminated, unfortunately, due to not being able to get a bit of clean air in front of him. So whatever lap time he gets here, I don't think it's going to be faster to push him up. And speaking of a couple of other drivers, so Johan Bloknoot, yeah, so sitting in pit lane, he has not set a lap time, so I think that is by his own choice, not pulling a lap time in to potentially try and start from the back. Jean Mostard, who's now in a Team WT BMW. We've actually seen him in a different livery in the BMW, so now pulling a nice Team WRT livery, which looks very nice actually, the nice black and white. Very nice to see, but yeah, so far we've got a good grid forming. Peter Meyer will start first, it seems, unless he can be overtaken, but it looks like the only person who could give him a run for his money, Joan Viviers, is sitting in pit lane, and Garrett Bukes, also 600 of a tenth behind, has already finished his lap. So Peter Meyer currently still out on track. Will he set a faster time? No, he does not, so that is his time, but he will be starting in first, unless some other drivers. We've got 5-star who's out on track. No, he's pulling it off. Jason Landsberg also still out on track, who is trying to set a lap time better. That is also the likes of Ian Upton, a little bit further down, who also just finished and set a lap time, so he pushed himself up to 10th place. Great stuff from him, but let's go on board with our final driver here, Jason Landsberg. So he's going to be pushing it around the track for the final couple of seconds here, and let's see what he can do, and potentially try and push himself up this grid. So 15th position right now, a little bit further off than he'd hoped to be. He's had a couple of good results this season, and coming across the line now, will it be an improvement? And indeed it is. He pushes himself into the top 10, so amazing stuff from him. And that is the end of our qualifying session, which is great to see. We're going to be moving over to our main grid shortly, and we will be back very, very soon once we are back on the main grid. See you guys there. Alrighty, and we are back on our main grid. Apologies for that little bit of a black screen. We were waiting for the session to progress. We have successfully progressed now, and we are on to the next session. And now we are just sitting on the grid waiting for the clock to tick. The drivers have, as you can see, well, unfortunately, it's a bit blocked. Let me see if actually I can actually move that. Let's put it over here. I don't think it'll cause interference up here. So let's pop it up there. I think it is still looking good. Yeah, it's looking good. Cool. So you guys can now see the session timer. We've got 1 minute and 20 seconds left until the start of this race. So drivers are just going to be putting in some setups. And we're going to be back shortly once we do start getting on grid. Alrighty then, we are back. Sorry, just wanted to get a couple bits of food into the stomach there. Getting a little bit hungry there. We are hungry for racing, but also for food in real life. So, but we are back. We've got now 1 second left before we start the beginning of our formation lap. And we've got a couple of chatter going on in the virtual grandstand over there. Sponsored by PokerBet and Red Star Race by Benjamin Till, saying, "Evening, guys." Well, evening, Mr. Benjamin. It's great to see you in the commentary box. You are the first commentator. You are the first the first virtual grandstand member to have a bit of a chat over here, so welcome on in. Great to see you. We've got the drivers starting to pull off now for the formation lap, so great stuff to see. Some drivers still sitting a little bit stationary on grid, but everyone else seems to be pulling off great. But we're going to be sitting here and watching an absolute action-packed race. Like I mentioned last night, we saw it very, very in-depth with that 45-minute sprint race, and now tonight we've got 1 hour and 20 minutes of racing. 2 mandatory pit stops, which is definitely going to be playing a factor, and these drivers are definitely going to be having to put in all of that A-game effort. They don't have any more room to be saving this up. They've got 2 races left. Nürburgring, you're going to squeeze those kind of couple of pumps of power out of you, so you got to use those last bits of energy here at Kyalami. Try and push that car up on that grid. Try and get the maximum points you can before we head to our final round. We will be crowning our championship winner for the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star Pro-Am GT3 Championship winner for Season 19. So currently sitting on pole for the championship is the likes of Johan Blicknote, who has decided to start at the back of the grid. So, bit of an interesting speculation, playing it a little bit risky. Sitting currently at the top of the championship standings. He's got about a 70 to 80 point gap between him and the likes of Garrett Bukes in second. So playing it a little bit risky here, but I think he knows what he has to do. He did the same at Misano last week. Started at 28th position and finished up in 3rd. So he pulled it back. He had a bit of a fun race here at the back. Samir Bukes, actually the family member of Garrett Bukes, up in 3rd position. So we're going to be watching as they go around the track. Garrett Bukes, I believe, is that him there with the beautiful livery that is officially loaded and populated on my side. That is amazing. The yellow wasp is back in order. But Samir Bukes saying, penultimate race, good luck drivers. Absolutely, this is one of the most crucial races, if not the most crucial. We've got the championship fight next week, but there's lots and lots of points up for grab here, and some championship changes can definitely happen. So we have to stay on tune for what's going to happen. So currently, you're seeing the drivers doing lots of slowing down. They're trying to get as much heat into those tires as they start to come around the final couple of corners here. We're going towards through Mineshaft. Well, Mineshaft's just gone through, and we're going towards Cheetah now, and then Ingwe onto the main straight, where we'll be starting as a rolling start. Tim will be holding that checkered flag ready to go. Johan Bukes also joining in to cheer on his brother, Garrett Bukes, saying, "Go, brother, go." Yep, indeed, go, brother, go. He's currently sitting in 2nd place, and the championship leader is very far behind him. So he needs to do what he can, try and fight through ahead of Johan Viviers and put Peter Meyer in 1st and 2nd. Try and put that yellow wasp car up in 1st place. The mighty Hornet of Gary Bukes in the Sim Alpha SRS. But we're pulling onto the main grid here. Tim is going to be sitting in the pit box. We've got the helicam on the front little pack over here to see what happens. It's about to be green flag. We're approaching the line and waiting for Tim to let me speak. And there we go, green flag, and Ron Liebenberg immediately getting a drive-through penalty. Obviously speeding, holding a bit too much speed coming out of that rolling start. So unfortunate stuff from him. Carrot Bukes looking to go defensive, holding that inside line, not wanting to give a bit of position away. He's got the likes of Harry Duplessis currently on the outside of him now, trying to fight off the likes of Carrot Bukes, who is trying to hold position over there. Peter Meyer managing to keep very nicely in front. He's got the likes of Johan Viviers, who is still fighting behind a very big mid-pack at the back there. As you can see, it's all starting to formulate towards the back there. We've got a driver who's very far off at the back. That's the likes of Jody Sederman, and I believe that was an accident. Let's go back to the starting corner over here. He started from the pit lane. So did Ulrich Diacher. So unfortunately, both of them starting from the pit lane. So it seemed like turn one, from what I can see here, was completely clean. So the Pro-Am drivers managed to keep it cleaner than the mixed grid from last night's sprint race. So absolutely amazing stuff from them. We're going to be keeping on board, as you can see, that massive train of drivers in the rear over there in the replay. Nick's Owl joining the virtual grand, saying let's go Langeveld, have a good race all. Let's go down to Langeveld. I believe that's the like of Clint Langeveld, who's down in 26th position right now, fighting off the likes of Jaco Krobler. And he's doing phenomenally well in the Pandacity Esports BMW. So yeah, unfortunately, Ron Liebenberg has a drive-through penalty on lap 1 of this race here at Kyalami. So unfortunate stuff for him. And he's going to have to serve that within the next 3 laps, or he will suffer major consequences and receive a 130-second penalty, which is definitely not what you want. That is going to completely throw you off. You're going to be at the back of the grid no matter what you do. And at that point, there would be no more point in fighting. So further up on the grid, though, these drivers are managing to keep it very clean. There might be a potential overtake over here. That's the likes of Ian Upton looking up on the inside of, that looks like Jason Landsberg, coming into turn 1 here at Kyalami. Let's see, Crowthorne, the turn is Pinnacle, and Henry Platt managed to keep in front. These drivers are very close. Oh, that was the likes of Richard van Heerden, the Green Hulk. Oh, that was actually a bit of a spin there in the back. Oh, and that's unfortunate. That looks like the likes of Henk Pieterse, who's gone off. But let's go back 10 seconds to see what happened. Henk Pieterse coming through. Oh, gets tapped, unfortunately, by the likes of Jean-Ray Buerta, and massive collision over there for some of those drivers getting pushed wide off the track. So that's going to be a bit of a collision. You can see the damage on that Ferrari for the Henk Pieterse Hybrid Racing team. So super unfortunate for him. He's gone very far down the pack. So as the likes of Jody Seidemann and Ulrich Diacher, who started a little bit further down the list. But let's flash back up to the top to see how our drivers are doing. Peter Meyer managed to keep a very good lead right now, keeping it very clean on the first lap. Johan Viviers tailing him in second. The Gerrit Bukes in third, also doing a phenomenal job. And the Harry Duplessis sitting in fourth. Richard van Heerden in fifth in the Green Hulk Racing. He's got the likes of Mark Henry, who has come up with the Slick Racing Honda NSX, who's managing to actually fight him off. And he's actually gained that position, pushing him very wide off track. But now Richard van Heerden's got the inside line. Will it be an overtake? Richard van Heerden takes the inside line, but Mark Henry might carry a little bit more speed in. 5-star joins the fight at the back over there. So now we've got a little bit of a train there formulating for fifth place. The drivers fighting very hard here on first place. Chris Collison just behind them. And then also Henry Platt diving into the pit lane, actually. Pit window's not open yet, so unfortunately not too sure what's happening there. There doesn't look to be too much damage on that car, so not too sure why he'd be pulling into the pit lane. We'll have to keep tabs on that. Reginald Mitteleni, look at this absolute train over here. Jason Landsberg leads this little train. He's got the likes of Ian Upton behind. Cara Pretorius. Reginald Mitteleni follows him. Jonathan Chislett now making a dive. Oh, Reginald Mitteleni goes defensive on the last second to block him out. That could have been a major incident. Ron van der Walt and Wessel Boda getting stuck behind the likes of them two as well. Mustafa Narodian closing off that little train. And then we're starting another train over there with Johan Bluchnoot, who has already pulled up to 18th position from 30th in the first lap. So absolutely phenomenal stuff from the championship lead over here. He's playing around a little bit in the backside. He's got the likes of Jean Mostard on the back of him, doing some incredible stuff as well. So John Mostard currently on board. You can see Johan Bluchnoot in front of him, pushing as hard as he can to try and get up and score maximum points. Obviously, we know that Johan Bluchnoot is mainly under pressure from the likes of Gerrit Bukes in the Sim Racing Alpha SRS Ferrari Yellow Hornet, as you can see on the side of that car. So he's still sitting in third place, trying to catch back up to Johan Viviers, but he's under pressure from Carrie Duplessis. So great stuff so far. Driving, keeping it nice and clean and nice and consistent. Samir Buke saying last night was a bit argy-bargy bumper cars, definitely. Last night's turn 1 was very intense. We unfortunately saw a couple of spins happening and a couple of drivers touching lots and lots of grass here at Kalami. I know it's South Africa. I know we have lots and lots of nature. But guys, avoid the grass for a couple of hours or a couple of minutes, please. Try and keep it on the tar. Even the curbs can be a little bit dangerous, especially those sausage curbs. We saw it penalizing actually our race leader, Peter Meyer, who unfortunately got a bit of hold of the sausage curbs last night, and his Porsche got planted in the wall. So unfortunate stuff there, but he's currently doing very well, managing the pack right now, and he's trying to pull away from the likes of Johan Vivier's behind, but he's currently got the fastest lap of this race, so he's keeping very nicely behind the likes of Peter Meyer, so chasing him down very hard. We've got a little bit more action in the virtual grandstand. Big Boss RSA joins us. He's saying, go get him, champ. That Ferrari with the Hornet skin is looking fierce. Absolutely. Carrot Bukes has been a fierce competitor throughout the season. He's had his family who has constantly been in the virtual grandstand cheering him on, and that is also a factor as to why he does so well. He's got so much support, but he's also an absolutely phenomenal driver. He keeps it clean, but he keeps it hard. Just like you on the track, keep buzzing past the competition and show them who's boss. You've got this. So absolutely amazing support coming in for Carrot Bukes. He's got 2 rounds left and he's trying to chase the championship lead. Oh, here comes a little bit of a dive bomb from Carrot Duplessis. Decides to pull away, but coming a little bit on the inside now. He's got a very, very close to the likes of Carrot Bukes coming down mineshaft. Could potentially be a overtake. We've got someone in the comment in the virtual grandstand, Lucas Sternan, saying, Oaks, where is Tyler Humphries? Haven't seen him race in ages. Yeah, so also haven't really seen Tyler Humphries. He might be racing in the Pro or the AM division as well, because he's definitely not in this race. So he might be in Pro. I also haven't seen his name too much there, so he might be in AM. I don't know if he is. But unfortunately, yeah, so some of the drivers who have dropped off over the couple of past seasons, some drivers taking breaks, some of them also just deciding to put away the gear for some time and focus on some other things. But while we're focusing, let's actually focus back up on the track here. Harry Duplessis looks up the inside now of the likes of Carrot Bukes, makes the overtake. Will it stick? Carrot Bukes trying to hold on the outside line, and unfortunately not enough. Harry Duplessis takes the 3rd position away. The podium spot has been disgranted from Carrot Bukes, and Carrot Duplessis taking it back. But now Richard van der Heerde putting pressure on Carrot Bukes now, taking Redemption Day very seriously over here, and sees Carrot Bukes limping a little bit from that overtake happening on him. So he's now actually managed to make his way in front. And now Carrot Bukes has got the likes of Mark Henry behind him, carrying a lot of speed. And that's contact, unfortunately. Oh, contact between the likes of Mark Henry and Carrot Bukes. Unfortunately, almost putting both of them into the wall. Thankfully, both of them managing to recover the cars nicely. Mark Henry almost losing the rear side of that Honda and managing to keep it clean. And unfortunately, Carrot Bukes getting a little bit of a love tap there, but managing to keep the car nice and straight. 5-star also pulling away from the pack behind him. So Ian Upton now the leader of that pack. He's got the likes of Gerard Pretorius and Reginald Mittelani very close behind him. As you can see, he's actually being hunted down now. And Jonathan Chislett also very much in that fight. Vessel Voda then leading the pack for 13th position. He's got a long list of cars behind him. Jason Landsberg, followed by Rowan van der Walt, Gavin Scruton, and Mustafa Narodian, as well as Johan Blichnoot. Our championship lead still sitting in 18th place, trying to fight towards the top. But he's still got a full 1 hour and 11 minutes left. But talking about time, we've got 1 minute and 22 seconds now until pit window opens. So any driver who's trying to do your undercut, now is almost your chance. About one more lap. And yeah, absolutely phenomenal stuff from some of these drivers. Another bit of action going on here in the virtual grandstand. Benjamin Thill saying, Reginald the Legendald. Absolutely, Reginald Mittelani has been an absolute legend of RaceFace. He's been here for so many seasons that I can't even count. And he has been doing nothing but improving so far. And bringing that Noob Nation Evo to absolute glory. I mean, to think Reginald Mittelani started in the AM division and he was really struggling a long time ago. Now he's in Pro-Am and he's hitting consistent top 10 finishes almost. Or top 15 finishes. So great stuff from him. He's actually putting a lot of pressure on the likes of Carrot Pretorius. And I believe he's actually made that position stick. Carrot Pretorius now up on the inside line. This might be contact if they don't manage it well. But Carrot Pretorius pulling in and giving the position to Reginald Mittelani, who's now pulled nicely ahead of him. Carrot Pretorius losing that position to Reginald Mittelani. So Reginald Mittelani now up into the top 10 for the Noob Nation Evo car. Great stuff from him. Let's look further down the list. Gavin Scruton also fighting for his life. He's trying to chase down Ron van der Walt in front. He's got Mustafa Narodian behind. And then he's got the Dominator, Johan Blinknote and Omnius Gaming Nitro, the championship leader, currently about to enter this pack. He's currently setting faster lap times than him. His last was the 142.222, and the lap time from then previously was the 142.8. So definitely catching them by about 4 to 5 tenths a lap. Pit window is now open for these drivers, so they can definitely make a pit stop if they want to. But let's look at the gaps that are formulating. Peter Meyer is managing to keep a 1 second gap to the likes of Johan Viviers behind, and then a big gap to the likes of Harry Duplessis. About a 4 second gap between the top two right now, so they're pulling off very nicely here at Kyalami. And Harry Duplessis with the likes of the Hulk, Richard van Heerden in the Project Vapor Ferrari, still chasing very close behind them. And Garrett Bukes, unfortunately, after losing that third place position, still just trying to stay relative in the top 5 over here. And he's still got loads of support in the virtual grandstand. So Garrett, if you're feeling discouraged, don't be. You're an amazing driver. Keep pushing, man. You've got this. And you've still got 2 races left to prove that you are the championship winner. And you can potentially get yourself a track experience at Red Star Raceway. Or, if you unfortunately cannot push hard enough, you'll have your competitor, Johan Blinknote, take that away from you. And currently, he is sitting in first place. He is currently the rightful owner of that track experience if he manages to keep consistent like he is doing right now. Already up into 16th position. So he's already passed the likes of Jean Mostert, who has fallen a little bit back, and Jan Ray Buerta after having that unfortunate contact with Henk Petersen, who's very far down the list. Actually just come in to do a pit stop. So we've already got 4 drivers who have attempted, actually 5 drivers who have done the undercut strategy. Ulrich de Jager finished it off right now. Henk Petersen just behind. Arno Kraus has also just finished it. And Wessel Voda, someone who we know is very fast for the Kramadulas Racing Mercedes AMG GT Evo. And he's finished his pit stop. Same with the likes of Garrett Pretorius, which is why we saw him drop off so much. He decided to actually get some clean air, get a pit stop done, and now he's racing by himself. So something that lots of drivers do tend to do is that they pull it in real quick and get a pit stop done so that they don't have to worry about it. So great stuff from them. They're doing it phenomenally well. And we're going to continue to watch them throughout the race. Donnie Steenkamp in the Griffin Sim Racing Ford Mustang. We finally got a livery for him after syncing liveries correctly. And that is a beautiful blue and metallic silver livery for the GSR Griffin Sim Racing Ford Mustang. And he's also, funny enough, pulling in to do that first pit stop strategy. So great stuff from him. And we're going to continue to watch these drivers as they pull through. Alrighty. So back up to the top still. Peter Meyer still being chased down by Johan Viviers. Still a 1 second gap between them. And Garrett Bukes, unfortunately, still very much under pressure now. He's actually just lost the position to Mark Hennebury. And now he's got the likes of Chris Collison on the rear side of him, pushing very hard to try and get past him. And Five-Star will also start stacking up and joining that fight. Five-Star, definitely a bit of an instigator, or someone that we've seen sitting in the back and then he attacks when no one really thinks that he will. He's been someone that has come from very little of a background where you think, you know, he's not going to be here, and all of a sudden, boom, Five-Star is on your rear end, and he's contesting for podium position. We saw that at Paul Ricard, and he's continuing to do it throughout the season. We'll probably see him do it in season 20 as well at the end of this year. So great stuff from him. Ian Upton, someone who has had a bit of an unfortunate season here for the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star GT3 Pro Am Championship. He unfortunately has had a couple of races where he's been an Upton, and then he's also been a Downton, unfortunately, and not had a couple of good races. He's actually had a couple of bad DNFs and very low finishes in the 30th, and that is unfortunately just been purely due to accidents that have happened on track. He's currently under pressure from the likes of Reginald Mittelani, who's chasing down more top 10 runners. So Reginald Mittelani, the Orange Noob Nation Evo, who's just continuing to put pressure like nothing ever happened. And Jason Landsberg, someone to keep an eye out. The undercut god, like I like to call him. The guy who makes things happen when you don't expect him to. All of a sudden, he pulls into the pit lane. The next thing you know, he's in second place because he's got no pit stops left. He does everything early. And I was actually expecting him to pull into the pit lane by now and get his mandatories done and dusted, and then focus on the rest of the race by just keeping it clean. He's been able to keep it clean for most of the season, and pulling that same strategy over and over again. He's done it very well, and he's going to continue to do that. And yeah, we're going to be on tabs with him to see He's got the likes of Ron van der Walt following behind him, and now the likes of Johan Bluknoot up into 14th position already in that Ford Mustang, so pushing very hard. He started all the way in 29th, and he's already up into 14th, chasing down the Pandacity driver. And Pandacity and Omnius actually having a little bit of a rivalry this season. Very big teams, lots and lots of drivers involved in these teams, and they've had fights across all types of championship series. You saw it in the sprint series and the main series, and these two have been added very, very hard, and they're going to continue to be doing it throughout the rest of the seasons. I think Pandacity is going to definitely be here to stay. I know Omnius Gaming is going to be here to stay, obviously because I'm the one who manages it, and I definitely know that we are not going anywhere anytime soon. And it's also an amazing thing to see, to have other teams to compete with. You know, the more teams that there are in the championship, the more events that happen, the more entertainment that happens. So props to everyone who does build up a team and bring some drivers in, gives them some setups, and gives them the experience to come and race here at RaceFace with the team, and let them rock those awesome liveries, which is also always a great thing to see. But further down the list, let's go have a look at one of the names mentioned also in the comment section, Clint Langeveld for the Pandacity Esports BMW. Currently sitting in 20th, so he is the round off for 20th position, so doing pretty well so far. He's now got the likes of Carrot Pretorius behind him, who has already completed a pit stop. Gavin Scruton, also one pit stop finish for him. Henry Platt, the teammate in Team Tryhard Racing, also completing a pit stop nice and early. And then the rest of the drivers, except for Ruan Liebenberg, who has not completed both pit stops. I think he's doing one now. Yep, he just finished it. And that was unfortunately due to getting the drive-through penalty at the beginning for not adhering to the speed limit on the rolling start. So unfortunate stuff from him, and he's going to try and pull his way back up onto this grid. Alright then, so following still further up on the list, let's go towards some more action over here. There seems to be a big train still throughout this mid-pack. We can see it over here, Reginald Mittelani, and he's got the likes of Jonathan Chislett, Jason Landsberg, and Johan Bluknoot. The championship leader is now joining this pack. He's pulling the likes of Ron van der Walt in front of him, so he's actually made the overtake stick now on Ron van der Walt, and he is now nicely in front of him, trying to chase down the likes of his competitor, Gerrit Bukes, who has now been pushed down to 6th already by Mark Hennebury. And he's got Collison behind him, who is not actually able to find any form of gap or space to try and make any form of move just yet. He's going to continue to push and try and get that done. And still pushing very hard. We've still got the likes of Gerrit Bukes, like we've mentioned. 5-star also fighting very nicely throughout the mid-pack. He's been doing incredibly well. But let's go through a bit of a running order so far for our Pro-Am division over here. So Peter Meyer rolling it out in the top 1 position here for Omnius Gaming, sitting in first place. Jean Viviers in second place, followed by Harry Duplessis, Richard van der Heerde in the green Hulk Ferrari 296, Mark Hennebury sitting in 5th place for the Slick Racing Honda NSX Evo, Gerrit Bukes, our current favorite in the virtual grandstand, in 6th position, followed by Chris Collison, 5-star sitting in 8th position, Ian Upton sitting in 9th position, and Reginald Mittelani in 10th position, followed by Jonathan Chislett in 11th, Jason Landsberg in 12th, and then behind them, Johan Bluknoot, the current championship leader, busy trying to hone down Ron van der Walt, following behind him, sitting in the slipstream very nicely. And then further down the line, Mustafa Narodian just coming around Mineshaft, sitting for the Triazi Competizione Ferrari. Jean Mostard in the Team WRT, currently under pressure from Ronald Childs, someone who is also seen has had a bit of a challenging start mid-pack and into this season. He's been a little bit up and down. So Ronald Childs in 17th position, Bradley Searle in 18th position, and he's got Jaco Krubler also coming down the list of the hill over there. I believe Jaco Krubler might be in front of Barry. No, okay, never mind. So Bradley Searle and Jaco Krubler. Clint Langeveld, also one of the favorites in the virtual grandstand, followed by Gerrit Pretorius in 21st. Gavin Scruton also doing incredibly well, still in 22nd. He's done a pit stop already. So a couple of drivers who have done pit stops. Vessel Voda in 23rd, Henry Platt following in 24th. And, you know, some of these drivers might be further down the list, but you have to pay attention to that little orange, that orange listed number next to their name. That is the amount of pit stops they've got left to do. So as you can see, some of these guys near the bottom, they've still got 2 pit stops left to do, which explains, you know, sitting near further around the back. But then other drivers, like, you know, you've got the likes of revved, Henry Platt, Gavin Scruton, they've all finished one pit stop already. But furthering down the list, Arno Kraus, unfortunately, still not being able to render a livery just yet, unfortunately. So Clint Langeveld, also now 25th after that pit stop. He's got some virtual grandstand mayhem going on there. Tyler Langeveld, the son of Clint Langeveld, in the virtual grandstand. What an awesome thing to see, you know, your son cheering you on in the virtual grandstand. So Clint Langeveld has a bit of support in the grandstand, so absolutely amazing to see. Donnie Steenkamp in 27th with that new GSR livery. Jan-Ray Buerta further down in 28th after the collision that he unfortunately had with Henk Pieterse. Speaking of Henk Pieterse, down in 29th, now chasing down the likes of Jan-Ray Buerta. And Jody Seidman, the only driver on grid to have all pit stops complete so far. So incredible stuff from him. He's playing the undercut strategy like an absolute boss, trying to get things done. And then Ulrich Diaka, unfortunately, a little bit further back from the rest of the pack. And he's still got a full pit stop left to do. So unfortunately, he's going to have to try and catch up a bit. But so far, everyone seems to be driving very, very nicely. We haven't had any accidents at all in the past, I don't know, probably in the past 7 or 8 minutes at all on my timing sheet of here, which is actually incredible to see. And what we can see in the back there, though, is Johan Bloknoot is trying to fight his way through the mid-pack over here of Jason Landsberg and Jonathan Chislett, who are currently fighting with each other, the two V8 Aston Martins, who are putting a lot of pressure on each other to try and bring themselves further up into the top 10, where Reginald Mitteleni is just in front. But Johan Bloknoot is definitely moving faster. Johan Bloknoot currently sitting with a 141.9 as his last. Jason Landsberg with a 142.9. So an entire second faster in their last lap. That's exactly why you've seen Johan Bloknoot pull so much time on these guys in such a short amount of time. And Ron van der Walt easing into this very nicely, sitting nicely behind the likes of Johan Bloknoot, and receiving a nice bit of slipstream to pull himself up as well. Further up the list, Gerrit Bukes still under pressure from the likes of Chris Collison, and Mark Henry is now starting to pull very far away from the likes of them. He's joining into the fight there for, that looks like third, with Harry Duplessis up in front. And Harry Duplessis obviously got Richie van der Heerde, the Green Hulk, behind him. And then Peter Meyer currently sitting with the fastest lap time of the session, but he has lost a little bit of a gap that he had to the likes of Johan Verveers, who's now a little bit closer, 0.7 seconds to Peter Meyer. And Johan Verveers is going to continue to put as much pressure as he can on the likes of Peter Meyer, and he's going to continue to do it for the next 57 minutes. So 47 minutes left of the pit window, and a couple of drivers still needing to do their first pit stops, and then a couple of drivers still having their second pit stop, and then one driver, I believe it's still one driver, Jody Seidman. Yep, the only driver to have both pit stops finished so far. So great stuff from him for the Delta Negative team, and he's going to continue to try and push his way through and fight off all the drivers who need to still have pit stops completed. And Ron van der Walt still trying to keep up, but he's unfortunately losing out a little bit now to Johan Bloknoot, who's starting to put a lot of pressure on the Aston Martins, as you can see, very, very close to the rear end there of Jason Landsberg. And he's trying to make it a quick and efficient overtake to try and get up towards the top 10 and score maximum points. That's unfortunately Jean Mostert, or Ron van der Walt, who has lost the car going into sunset. Got it live over there, unfortunately just losing the rear of the BMW. Thankfully no wall contact, but unfortunate stuff from him heading off track, managing to recover nicely. And it seems like he only lost one position, but there goes his toe from Johan Bloknoot. He's going to have to sit behind the likes of Jean Mostert. He might be faster than him, and he might have a bit of difficulty getting past him. So we're going to have to keep an eye on that. Mustafa Narodian currently sitting in a bit of no man's land. Well, actually, Garrett Pretorius behind him in no man's land, and then Gavin Scruton in complete no man's land. No one in front, no one behind. He's got a nice 4.7 seconds ahead and 6.9 seconds behind him of playing area, so he's sitting in very, very nice and clean air. That McLaren is living a nice and lavish life there for the team Tryhard Racing. Number 447, Gavin Scruton. Wesselvoda trying to catch up, coming around Mineshaft now to the likes of Gavin Scruton. He's got the teammate of Gavin Scruton behind him, Henry Platt, also doing very well. Someone in the comment section, oh my goodness, I apologize. Nix Al saying, Tristan, it is Tyler Clint's daughter. Huge apologies for that, guys. So sorry, but let me keep it to family members. That's what I've been doing with Garrett Bukes. He's had a lot of family come in to wish him well, and you don't ever want to mess up the family tree like that. So huge apologies to Tyler Langerfeld in the virtual grandstand. He had to support her dad, and absolutely incredible stuff here in the virtual grandstand, sponsored by Red Star and PokerBet. Now, once again, remember the amazing prize that Red Star Raceway is presenting to these drivers. Well, in specific, the winner of the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star Pro-Am GT3 Championship Season 19, and that will be a track experience. And then obviously for our RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet GT3 Championship for Season 19, the main division, they will be winning a grand total, well, a shared prize pool for the top one driver of 150,000 Rand. So if you're wanting to go see how the progress of that is doing, make sure to head over to the RACEFACE.PRO YouTube channel and go ahead and check for the pro stream presented to you by Steven Koenig, who's currently also live alongside me, which is an awesome thing to see. So we've got 2 streams going, and I believe eventually we're going to have 3 streams going, with the AM division also trying to be held, potentially just being streamed and not casted, but we'll have to try and follow up on that further down the line. But back on board with the current race going around, and still Chris Collison putting a little bit of pressure on the likes of Carrot Bukes, and then Jody Sierman, who is fighting behind them. Obviously, he's a back marker to fight Tar, who is behind him. So once he starts putting pressure, he's going to have to give up that position. But Jody Sierman is definitely not a slow driver, so he might be able to keep himself within that pack, wait for everyone to pit, and just sit comfortably with that big fuel tank that is very, very filled up to try and make it to the end of this 53-minute race. And great stuff from him as well so far. But yeah, so far not too much action around the grid. Everyone keeping it nice and clean. We've had a couple of spins here and there, but already major progress so far on how the race has gone compared to last night. Last night we saw a lot more action of spins and unfortunate traction control losses and contact. And compared to tonight, we haven't really seen much of that. These drivers keeping it very professional, keeping it very clean, and keeping everything very much in check and in line. Back up to the top though, Peter Meyer has now started to put a bit of a gap between the likes of him and Johan Verveers. 1.9 seconds now, and now Johan Verveers might have a bit of problems. He's got the likes of Harry Duplessis, who's starting to put pressure on him. 1.5 seconds now. Richard van Heerden will also start to eventually join that fight. He's about 2.8 seconds away. But all of them coming around Ingwe now onto the main straight. So Peter Meyer starting to pull away in that Omnius Gaming Porsche. Great stuff from him. He's trying to redeem himself from last night's conundrums that he unfortunately had. And he is going to still have to try and watch out in his rearview mirror, because Johan Verveers, definitely not a slow driver. Someone who has also been on the radar for being one of the most consistent drivers, and he's going to have to watch out to make sure he doesn't do anything that may potentially risk Peter Meyer of the win here. Mark Henry also sitting nicely in 5th, the only Honda NSX Evo. And the nice thing that we see here is we've got a couple of nice unique cars in grid. So obviously we've got the Honda. I would definitely love to mention the Ford Mustang, but unfortunately, due to the popularity of this car and the top speed, the engine, which we're going to hear now, that absolute monster of a V8 that you hear over here, it's become a bit of a popular car. Lots of people have started to take it, and it's no longer one of the rare guys on grid. Another rare guy on grid will definitely be the only Mercedes AMG GT Evo. That is the likes of Vessel Voda, and he is the only one on grid at the moment. And then usually we do have one more rare driver, that would be the likes of John Mostert. But he does not drive the Audi in the main championship. He only drives it in the sprint series. Some more action happening though in the virtual grandstand. Ryan May saying, "Let's go boys, Team Mustafa Narodian and Jody Sierman." So absolutely incredible stuff. Some more support coming in for the boys running around the track. Sorry. The boys running around the track. So obviously we've got the likes of Mustafa Narodian being supported over there. Down in 28th position. He's doing his pit stop over here. Not sure if he's already been in. Yeah, so he's coming out of his pit lane, so he's still got one more mandatory pit stop. And then obviously Jody Sierman, still the only driver to have all pit stops completed. So absolutely incredible stuff. And they are going to continue to push, try and keep those cars clean. That is the only issue if you play the major undercut strategy like we see with Jody Sierman right now. Is that if he does not keep this car clean in terms of damage, he's going to have to pit again if the damage is too severe, and that completely eradicates the whole point of doing an undercut, which means he's going to have to sit in the pit lane again for a whole extra 20 to 30 seconds, and that is not what we want to see. So Jody Sederman is definitely going to be playing the safe game, but he can't play too safe. He's got to keep the speed up, and he's got to try and put more and more pressure. So far, 17 laps done among the grid. We've got only one driver on 15 laps, being the likes of Ulrich Diaco, who is very far behind. And then everyone from Jody Sederman up to Wessel Voda, well, soon to not be Wessel Voda as he crosses the line. So Henry Platt, 16 laps, and everyone else on 17 laps. Peter Meyer will be coming around there down Mineshaft, almost onto 18 laps. So a bit of a gap starting to form between the boys here in the Pro-Am division. But still more and more action around the grid though. So Ian Upton has now obviously got the back marker of Jody Sederman in front of him, and he's going to have to try and get around Jody Sederman, because definitely not back marker due to being slow, rather back marker due to being strategic, you know, pulling his pit stops early. But now he might be at risk of having to abide by the blue flag and let the likes of Ian Upton go past him, or else he might be at risk of getting penalized for not obeying a blue flag. So he has to kind of weigh out the pros and the cons here. He looks to be getting a lot of pressure from Ian Upton, and if he cannot maintain that speed, he's going to have to let him through. He's going to risk it. So he goes out wide. Ian Upton goes up the inside, and he's going to give that position away to him. But he might have actually sacrificed Ian Upton's line, as here comes Reginald Mittelani. Let's go on board with him. As you can see, very, very close to the likes of Ian Upton, but he pulls defensive on the inside to try and avoid the potential dive bomb from Reginald Mittelani, who does play it safe. And good stuff from them to try and keep those cars nice and clean around circuit. So great stuff from them. Reginald Mittelani is going to be putting a lot of pressure on him now. Johan Bloknoot up into 9th position already. So top 10 for him after 18 laps of driving here around Kalami. He started in 29th position up into a 9th position. So already 20 positions gained since the start of this race. So absolutely incredible stuff from him. He's going to continue to try and do the same thing over and over again and replicate it for the next 48 minutes. And see if he can pull along as much weight as he can in that big Mustang. Probably one of the heavier sided cars on the grid, with it having the big V8 and just the much bigger chassis, but driving the most top speed because of that V8. And he's doing incredibly well so far. He's had an absolutely amazing season. I mean, if we had to go and review Johan Bloknoot's standings, so obviously race 1, 14th position, so not too great there. Then race 2 first, race 3 first, race 4 first, race 5 first, race 6 obviously coming third from starting during the back, and now race 7 might potentially try and get himself up to the top 5 here. I don't know if he'll be able to snatch the win, as Peter Meyer is starting to run away from everyone else now, 2 seconds away, and these two teammates, so they'll have to play the team stretch here. But thankfully, Johan Bloknoot very far in the championship. It's not like he crucially needs first place to try and take the win. So he potentially will stay behind Peter Meyer if he does get up into second place. And that will definitely be something to look out for. Harry Duplessis also still keeping this car very consistent for the Kramadulas Racing Ferrari. Unfortunately, no livery from them yet. Still the matte black, obviously doing some budget cost savings to try and keep that Ferrari as fast as they can. Maybe they've realized that putting on a little bit of paint adds about 600 grams of weight, and that's a no-no. But fortunately, due to the BOP, all cars are definitely the same here. There's nothing like that, and I'm just talking a bunch of hogwash, guys. That does not happen in virtual racing. No livery will make any form of performance difference. It just makes your car look a lot cooler. Definitely like the likes of Carrot Buttes, like we've mentioned in the virtual grandstand. The Yellow Hornet going around track, currently down in 11th position, but it is due to the fact that he has done one of his mandatory pit stops. So good stuff from him. He's trying to pull a bit of an undercut on his competitors around him, and he's actually not too far off from his championship rival Johan Bloknoot, who still has 2 pit stops left to go. So he'll probably overtake him once again once he makes a pit stop and back into the provisional, well, I wouldn't say provisional pole. Unfortunately, he's a bit too far behind some of the top runners in specific, Johan Viers and Peter Meyer. But they've actually got more pressure now. Claire Duplessis coming a little bit further behind. He's really not far away now. 1.2 seconds from Johan Viers. We might see an overtake here at the top of the hill there. I believe we saw the likes of Jaco Krubler, who's getting pressure. There we go, getting pressure from the likes of Ron van der Walt. We saw it there in the corner of our eyes as some of the drivers came down the main straight. Good little catch there with Kyle Army being a very gradient style track, is that you get to see lots of heeled type overtakes, you know, up the hill, down the hill. I mean, specifically, if you've ever been to Kalami yourself, if you sit at Crowthorne, obviously the turn 1, you can actually see Mineshaft all the way at the top of the hill, and you can see the action that happens at the Mineshaft corner, which is very cool, a very cool thing to witness. Definitely one of the coolest side of things about Kalami, being able to visualize most of the track at certain parts of the circuit, which is very nice to see. Henk Petersen trying to recover that car after the incident that he had earlier with the one of the Pandacity cars, I believe it was, or if my memory is hogwash, it was another car. But trying to keep that car nice and stable for the next 40 minutes. We've already gone through about 40 minutes. We're about to hit halfway point here for the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star Pro-Am GT3 Championship. And once again, another reminder to let you know that there is a pro stream going on with Stephen Koenig, also here on the RACEFACE.PRO YouTube channel. So go give that a watch, drop a like, and then come back if you're supporting any of the drivers here, as this is a crucial race. We're at Pinnacle Race, round 7 of round 8. We are 7/8 of the way there, and that prize pool of that track experience is starting to look very, very scrumptious for some of those top runners. And obviously the pro division, that 150k, is looking very, very delightful for some of these guys who have put in the time and the effort. Oh, very big deep dive there from Henk Petersen. It looked like Jakob Krivler almost gave that position. Let's actually flash back there and go on board. Jakob Krivler missing his braking point very hard, going out very wide. Henk Petersen just diving up the inside to try and make that position stick. So, not too sure if that was on purpose or if it was a mistake on his part, but unfortunately Jakob Krivler has now got the likes of Peter Meyer just tailing behind him. So the race leader starting to catch up to lots and lots of the back markers now as he is rolling around the track. And still, I believe, only... Okay, more drivers, thank goodness. So, obviously, we know from the most recent mention in the virtual grandstand that Mustafa Narodian and Jody Sierwan are definitely some form of friends, and we can see that by their pit stop strategies. So, both of them completing both pit stops are in the green, and so is Ruan Liebenberg, who's trying to recover from that drive-through he got at the start of the race, trying to redeem himself after unfortunately not staying within the speed limit on the rolling start. And he's going to see what he can do. He's got 43 minutes left. We've got a yellow flag somewhere. Trying to see where that is. The yellow flag seems to have disappeared, and I'm not actually seeing any form of accident listing in the software here, so nothing on that part. Something to definitely watch out though for Peter Meyer, who is going through the back markers here. He might start getting caught up and potentially start to lose time to the likes of Johan Viers behind him, who is also going to have to unfortunately fend through it. But he pulls into pit lane, so Johan Viers trying to get those pit stops done. He's in very, very dirty air right now. Lots and lots of GT3 cars surrounding him, and he's decided to pull it in and try and pull a different kind of strategy and potentially get those pit stops done and not be worried about it. So Richard van Heerden going up into third place, Gary Duplessis going up to second, now 3 seconds off of Peter Meyer, who's also got 2 pit stops left to go. So all of our top runners still 2 full pit stops left to go, and they've still got a 32-minute time limit on that pit window, and after that it closes. We do not want to see what happened in Monza. If any of the long-time viewers remember what happened in Monza, it was not a good speculation. We unfortunately had some drivers who missed our pit window, and they had to serve a 130-second penalty. So unfortunate stuff from them. It does unfortunately happen sometimes, but it is definitely an element that adds to the action of racing. And it happens a very few of those times, but when it does happen, it's a rare one, definitely. We've got a bit of a train of drivers coming to the pit lane over there. That looks like the 17th position, Jason Landsberg, into the pit. Same with Ian Upton, and then a couple of other drivers who just came out of pit. Not too sure where they're at now. Obviously, the leaderboard is not updating just as yet, as people are not crossing the line. But we did have a lot of people into the pit lane. Gavin Scruton up into 15th position now. Very good stuff from him so far, completing that pit stop and getting that car nicely up and keeping it nicely in the clean air. So good strategy from him. And then we obviously still got John Mostert, who is also still doing very well in the BMW top 10. He's trying to chase down the likes of Mark Henry in front. Bradley Solis behind him in that Pandacity Ferrari, and you can see he's putting a lot of pressure on him, and that's going to continue to happen. But let's talk about the elephant in the room here. That's going to be the like of our championship lead, Johan Blichnoot, who is now in 7th position chasing down Reginald Mitteleni. So he's made an absolute banger of a recovery from 29th position, from 29th to 7 without any form of pit stops. And great stuff from him so far. He's going to continue to try and push the car, but now he's been pushed up to 4th after we've had a load of cars coming into the pit lane. Carrie Duplessis, Chris Collison, and 5-star coming in to serve their first pit window times. And that looks like Carrot Bukes, who is also coming in. So a couple of drivers realizing it's not worth staying out there in the dirty air, rather come in, get some clean air, get some fresh tires possibly if they're wanting to do that, get a little bit more splash and dash or a full fuel tank into the car, and continue rolling. Alrighty then, but let's still flash back. Peter Meyer, still someone who has not completed any form of pit stop. So he's currently running very high up compared to Richard van Heerden, as everyone else has decided to pull into the pit lane. Reginald Mitteleni in 3rd, and then Johan Blichnoot in 4th. So Peter Meyer, will he serve his pit stop now? So he comes around Cheetah. Will he pull into the pit box? And indeed he does. Oh, that's Bego Krebler, not Bego Krebler, sorry. That is the likes of Jaco Krebler coming into the pit stop, coming out of Cheetah there onto the sand, and unfortunately losing a little bit of control of that Ferrari. So Peter Meyer into the pit lane, same with the likes of Richard van Heerden. That means if Reginald Mitteleni stays out, same with Johan Blichnoot, they will be the current leaders of this race. So Reginald Mitteleni stays out, same with Johan Blichnoot stays out, so they'll be 1st and 2nd. So absolute amazing recovery drive so far from Johan Blichnoot, from 29th to technically 2nd on the grid. There we go. 2nd place now. Peter Meyer coming out of the pit box. No, not yet. Still serving that pit stop. We'll have to wait and see where he does indeed come out. He's got 38 minutes left. I mean, damn, this race has absolutely flown. We started at 1 hour and 20 minutes, and it's already well past halfway mark now. Well, just 2 minutes under halfway mark. 38 minutes left, and these drivers are going to continue to push themselves to the limits, as this is the second last race. This is your home race. There's no excuses yet to say, oh, I'm saving my skill for the last race. No, this is Kyalami, okay? There's no saving skill. You got to render and hone everything you know into pushing yourself as hard as you can at the home Grand Prix. Peter Meyer, under a little bit of pressure there. It looks like Harry Duplessis putting lots and lots of pressure right onto the tail of Peter Meyer. Let's head over to the other set of cameras here that seem to be capturing a little bit more. And unfortunately, he's starting to pull a little bit further away now from Peter Meyer, as he is starting to pull back and get used to that car again after coming out of the pit lane. So Peter Meyer is basically our provisional 1st place. But Mark Hennebury in 3rd place with only 1 pit stop left to go. Am I seeing what I'm seeing? Is he actually in 3rd place right now with 1 pit stop left? Does that mean that Mark Hennebury has pulled the absolute undercut? Because I mean, that means that Mark Hennebury is our provisional pole for this race. It would be Peter Meyer, who's the 2nd person with 1 pit stop left to go. But Mark Hennebury currently sitting in 3rd with 1 pit stop left to go. So what on earth happened there? What kind of sorcery did Mark Hennebury pull to try and get that Honda NSX Evo into 3rd place with 1 pit stop left? The 2 people in front of him have got 2 full pit stops left to go. They're busy fighting each other very hard on track. And Reginald Mitteleni trying not to let the championship leader get ahead of him, trying to keep that glory of being up in 1st place. But Mark Hennebury has caught me by an absolute train smash. Like, I did not see this at all. Jean Mustard also doing great. Obviously still 2 pit stops left to go, but still up in the top 5 right now. So great stuff from him. Peter Meyer now under pressure from Carrie Duplessis though. And further down the line, that looks like Jonathan Chislett getting a lot of heap of trouble from Johan Verveers, who was in 2nd place with Peter Meyer before pit stops. And Jonathan Chislett actually also pulling the beautiful undercut move, is technically fully ahead of Johan Verveers. They're both on 1 pit stop left. Richard van Heerden also 1 pit stop left. Wessel Voda, who we saw pit very early and was sitting very far down in the bottom 20s, is now into the top 10 just from putting that pit stop strategy correctly. We seem to have had an accident here for the number 16 car, Dani Steenkamp. I think they might have actually had a bit of an incident coming into the pit lane. Dani Steenkamp, number 16, and number 153, Jean-Ray Buerta. So let's see what happens here. That looks like Carrot Bukes. And here comes Jean-Ray Buerta. Do they make contact? Oh, contact just at pit entry. Very weird incident though. So Jean-Ray Buerta not braking before the pit line, or Donnie Steenkamp braking a little bit too early. And unfortunately, contact for both drivers. A little bit of damage on the back of that car. But both of them not receiving any form of penalty actually. So Jean-Ray Buerta was not actually speeding. He just, came in at a bit of a faster speed. Donnie Steenkamp was preparing to get that car slowed down, and unfortunately that is going to be frontal damage for Jean-Ray Buerta and rear bumper damage for the likes of Donnie Steenkamp. So unfortunate stuff for them, but one thing to note is that basically our entire bottom 15 almost has completed all of their mandatory pit stops. We've got the couple few such as Ron van der Walt in 16th, Jaco Schrebler in 18th, and then Ronald Child in 20th, who have not completed any form of mandatory pit stop, but everyone else has now completed all mandatory pit stops, which is absolutely phenomenal. So great stuff from all of them to get those pit stops done, lightning and straight back out onto the track. So great stuff from all of those drivers. So we still got a couple of drivers up ahead. Actually, this looks like only 3 drivers on the course who have got, well, now 2 drivers on course with 2 pit stops left to go. That would be the likes of Reginald Mitteleni and Johan Bluknoot. The only 2 drivers still out on track with 2 pit stops to go. So they are playing a little bit more of a riskier game, trying to hold out as much as they can. I mean, currently they've got slightly clean air. That looks like they've got the likes of Jean-Ray Buerta sitting a little bit ahead of them. Okay, there we go. Reginald Mitteleni heard what I said. He pulled into the pit lane, and he's not having it anymore. He's obviously suffering a bit, or he was about to run out of fuel. One of the 2. So he's pulled in. Johan Bluknoot is now our provisional P1 technically. And wow, I mean, this looks normal. We've seen Johan Bluknoot sitting in first for the entire season, but he's sitting in first with 2 mandatory pit stops left to go. The only driver on track with 2 mandatory stops left to go. So he will definitely be overtaken. Mark Henneberry, though, is our provisional pole. I mean, he is very far ahead currently. Is that 18 seconds to the likes of Peter Meyer? I mean, what the heck? Mark Henneberry is going around the likes of Crowthorne now, and here comes Peter Meyer down the back straight. So 8-second gap around about between them. So incredible stuff from Mark Henneberry to pull that much of an undercut. Reginald Mitteleni coming around onto the top hill here at Kyalami. So he also hasn't really lost out too much of a drive from that pit stop. So not bad from him at all. But Johan Bluknoot is going to start to see the pressure. I want to see where he comes out though. Has it been enough for him to go around the circuit from the back of the grid to the front? Has it been enough for him to try and get as much gap to pull a pit stop and then still come out and compete for somewhat of a good finish? Will it be enough? He's got his competitor Gerrit Bukes in 12th, who's completed all of his pit stops. So that's a little bit of a worry for Johan Bluknoot. But he is currently trailing out in first. Peter Meyer, his teammate, in 4th position, also wondering what the heck has happened that Mark Henneberry is sitting in front of him. Funny enough, Peter Meyer's lost out the drive to Reginald Mitteleni as well. So Reginald Mitteleni has... What? That is absolutely crazy. Reginald Mitteleni has undercut the race leader, who was Peter Meyer. So has Mark Henneberry. So Peter Meyer has technically lost out to both of them. But one thing to consider, as we're talking about it, so Johan Bluknoot comes in, is that I think Peter Meyer did his main pit stop first, whereas I think Reginald Mitteleni and them did their fast pit stops, the splash and dash. But I was talking about it, Reginald Mitteleni is coming in to do his final pit stop, getting it done and dusted. So Peter Meyer is back into second. But what I'm saying is that I think Peter Meyer did a long pit stop, as in filled up the tank, potentially changed tires, whereas Mark Henneberry probably just did a splash and dash for his first mandatory pit stop, and he's holding out towards the end. That could be where the undercut has come from. We'll have to watch it and see what happens. But let's go on board with Johan Bluknoot to see where he comes out. So he's just been... Oh, and there goes any chance of fighting at the top. Johan Bluknoot, a drive-through penalty, and I believe that would be either for speeding out of the pit lane or a reckless exit out of the pit lane. An unfortunate thing to see, though, something I didn't actually expect to see from the likes of Johan Bluknoot. So very unfortunate stuff he is not going to be finishing anyway in the top 3 this race. That's definitely for sure. And that is an unfortunate one for him. So Mark Henry currently sitting out in first place. He's got an 8.3 second gap to Peter Meyer, who's coming around mineshaft now. Peter Meyer has got to fight Harry Duplessis behind him. Both of these guys on par right now in terms of pit stops. And Juan Villas has unfortunately lost out the drive to Peter Meyer. About 8 seconds gap to him. And he's going to have to try and chase him down. He's got his teammate behind him. I believe that would be the likes of Henk Petersen. But that would be a back marker. Yeah, that is the likes of Henk Petersen. Trailing down in 27th behind his teammate in 4th. So possibly just trying to cheer his teammate on. His race might be a little bit over compared to his teammate in 4th, down in 28th. And, you know, he might just be trying to assist his teammate. You know, potentially try and pull him up and help him out as much as he can. So, yeah, unfortunately, behind Blicknode not doing too well there with that drive-through penalty. And now we only got a couple of drivers now with mandatory pit stops left. So we've got obviously the likes of the Castaways, Ronald Childs, and Jaco Grubler, who are sitting in the mid-pack of green fields as little orange dandelions. So they still need to get those pit stops done before the end of the pit window, which is in 20 minutes or so. And then obviously everyone from 1st to 9th needing to complete pit stops. So here goes Johan Blicknode serving his drive-through penalty. And unfortunately, just to think, if he didn't get a drive-through, this would have been his final mandatory pit stop, and he could have potentially undercut everyone. So unfortunate stuff from him. It has not worked in his favor tonight at his home race here at Kyalami. So unfortunate scenes here for the Omnius Gaming Nitro Johan Blicknode, who will unfortunately suffer a little bit further down. As you can see now, he is one of the Castaways needing to do a pit stop still. But we've still got a long list of drivers up in front who still also need to do pit stops. So we know Mark Henry, our current race leader. Peter Meyer is catching him, not by too much of a lap per second. His last is 141.8 and Mark Henry's 142.2. So catching him by about 4 to 5 tenths a lap. Let's see what is happening though. So Mark Henry is going to come across the across the start finish line now. His last lap was 142.3. Alright, so let's go back onto Peter Meyer. Let's see what his last lap time was. A 141.8. Okay, so still progressively going faster and faster. Now 7.6 seconds. Harry Duplessis' last 141.8 as well. So he's staying very much on par with Peter Meyer, not letting him go. So they're probably going to both start catching up to Mark Henry in the slower and I think a little bit more outdated Honda NSX. One thing for sure that I definitely know is that car is not easy to drive. It's very difficult. The back end is very childish and likes to throw out a lot. And it can sometimes pose as a bit of a threat at certain circuits with a lot of constant weight distribution change. A circuit like Kyalami definitely on that list with constantly swinging that car left and right, up and down hills. It definitely moves the weight of the car to different parts of the chassis. So definitely can cause a little bit of distribution of weight and a little bit of dysfunction, and driver error can possibly happen. But Mark Henry has definitely been one of those drivers who have always taken on a challenge. We've seen him in the Endurance Series as well, you know, taking on the Bentley with his teammate and managing to actually win the 24-hour Nürburgring in that Bentley. So incredible stuff from him. And he's always been that guy to try and challenge the grid with those rare and unique car choices. So if we see him next year, next season, in season 20, we could potentially be seeing a different car choice that we don't really see much here. Maybe something that has been completely thrown away and disregarded. You know, Nissan. Not giving suggestions here, Mark Henry, but I mean, it would be cool to see a good old Nissan back on track. It's such a beautiful car. It's just unfortunately a little bit old. And I would also say the likes of the Mercedes, but Vessel Voters called dibs on that. He's about to actually be overtaken. Oh, never mind, not overtaken. Chris Collison pulling into the pit lane now, 16 minutes left. He's getting that one mandatory pit stop done. And here goes Mark Henry. So as you can see, doing a very long pit stop, Mark Henry. So I believe he did a splash and dash at first, which is how he undercut Peter Meyer. And he's having to sit and get that pit stop done now. Peter Meyer out in first place now. He's already pulling a 1.1 second gap to Harry Duplessis behind him. And so far doing very well. Let's look towards our mid-pack. Everyone seems to be very scattered. We seem to have a bit of a train forming around towards Cheetah. Definitely a little bit of a train here. That looks like Carrot Pretorius. He's got the likes of Ian Upton following behind him, and then Gavin Scruton following behind them as well. Further down the line, Henry Platt, teammate of Gavin Scruton, pulling a bit more, and then obviously Ronald Childs, who isn't really in this fight, unfortunately, due to needing to do a mandatory pit stop. Jonathan Chisler chasing him down. Jaco Krebler also still needing to do a mandatory pit stop. Jean-Ray Buerta, the Team Karugma Racing Porsche, who's also had a bit of a challenging race with contact, and he's receiving pressure from Ron van der Walt. So, incredible stuff so far. But with all of this constant changing and effects that have come in with people doing pit stops and clearing strategies, let's go back up to the top and have a look at our current standings. So Peter Meyer leading in first, still one mandatory pit stop. Harry Duplessis in second, one mandatory pit stop. Jean Viviers, also one mandatory pit stop in third. Vessel Voda and 5-star in fifth, also one mandatory pit stop. Richard van Heerden, our first driver in the list here with no mandatory pit stops left. Bradley Searle in seventh, one mandatory pit stop. Carrot Bukes cleared for pit stops in eighth, followed by Reginald Mittelany. Mark Henry has also just cleared his pit stops. Johan Blicknote in 11th, who still has one pit stop left to do after that drive-through penalty. Chris Collison in 12th, followed by Jason Landsberg, Gerard Pretorius, Ian Upton, Gavin Scruton, Henry Platt, Henry Platt in 17th, followed by Ronald Childs, still needing to do a pit stop. Jonathan Chislett in 19th, followed by Jaco Krebler in 20th. And then we got the likes of Jan-Ray Buerta in 21st, Ron van der Walt in 22nd, followed by Arno Kraus, also someone who's had a bit of a challenging season, but he's done phenomenally well to keep those spirits high. Jean Mostard in the Team WRT BMW in 24th position, Jody Sierman in the Delta Negative Green McLaren, followed by Ruan Liebenberg, who suffered a drive-through at the beginning of the race, and as you can see, that has really affected him down in 26th. Henk Pieterse in 27th position, followed by Donnie Steenkamp in 28th. Clint Langevold staying in 29th position. Oh, Clint Langevold catching that BMW, joining a little bit unsafe there. Let's flash back and see what happened. Losing traction coming around the top of the hill here at Kailami, and almost ruining his race by losing that car into the wall. So almost a potentially very dangerous accident there for Clint Langevold, managing to keep the car nicely under control. Then Mustafa Narodian down in 30th position, so he's had a bit of a challenge. I think he might have lost it somewhere that is a little bit further down the list. And then we've also got the likes of Ulrich Diacher, who has been sitting in 31st for most of the race after sitting in pit lane. So that is so far running order. Vessel Voda with probably one of the worst penalties of the categories that you can get. Vessel Voda just not getting lucky. A stop-go 30-second penalty for him, which is an absolutely very, very annoying penalty. He's got to stop the car in the pit lane, wait for 30 seconds with absolutely nothing being done to his car, and then drive off again. So way worse than a drive-through. It's an extra 30 seconds compared to a drive-through, which kind of sucks. And that is really going to put him off from any form of top 15 finish. I think he's going to just come in to serve it now, and here he comes. And unfortunately, he's going to have to sit and serve that penalty. Very sharp little entrance to the pit lane here around Ingwe at Kailami over here. Reginald Mittelany also still trying to fight through the pack here, up in 9th. About to make an overtake actually on Chris Collison, who has just made an overtake on Reginald Mittelany, and now he's trying to fight back and bring that car. But we've got an accident. The teams for car number 153, Jan-Ray Buerta. Let's go back 30 seconds to see what happened. So he's currently chasing down the likes of Ron van der Walt, coming down Mineshaft and coming around very, very tight, almost into where Cheetah is. Does he make contact somewhere, or was it a self-inflicted accident? Coming a little bit closer to Ron van der Walt, coming through Cheetah. Let's see what happens. He might have accidentally hooked that sausage curb. Coming around very nicely, goes around, touches a bit of gravel, brakes. I'm not really seeing too much contact or anything here with the likes of Jan-Ray Buerta, so not too sure what they meant by accident for him. Definitely nothing that I could see. And there we go. So the penalty has been cleared now for the likes of Vessel Voda, and down in 25th now. So from 13th to 25th because of one stray penalty. So that is exactly how crucial a penalty like that can be. He's completely lost out his drive now of any top 20 finish, regardless of the top 15 finish. And that is going to really affect him for the remainder of this race. But now we've only got, well, let's look at it, 4 drivers, plus Bradley Searle in 6th, and then plus Jakub Hrubler in 17th. So we've got 6 drivers who still need to do 1 more mandatory pit stop. So the top 4, definitely self-explanatory. You know, they're pushing, and Bradley Searle, a little bit questionable as to why he's not coming in. But Jakub Hrubler sitting out in 17th with 1 mandatory pit stop still needing to be done. So a little bit of a weird thing. He's holding it out. Not too sure why, though, because there's no beneficial gain. He's got the championship leader behind him, who's unfortunately not benefited from this race after receiving that drive-through penalty after speeding out of the pit lane or into the pit lane. So unfortunate stuff from him. But a bit of a weird one for Jakub Hrubler to be running with 1 pit stop still, as you've got 9 minutes left of this pit window before the end of the race. So phenomenal stuff so far for the rest of the drivers. Ron Liebenberg, oh no, Ron Liebenberg getting another drive-through penalty, and I believe that might be unfortunately due to track limits. Oh, and there's contact. Unfortunately, Robin Liebenberg, I think, feeling a little bit angry with himself there. He looks to have touched the rear there of Jody Sederman. Let's go on board with him. Yep, just completely flooring it into the back of Jody Sederman, who managed to keep the car clean without losing it. So Ron Liebenberg unfortunately losing the rear end of that car, and he unfortunately spun around, and that's not going to help his drive-through penalty whatsoever. So he's actually going to land up even worse than Wessel Voda in 25th after this penalty, and that is super unfortunate. Ronald Childs now into the pits, but I think Ronald Childs might have DNF'd the car. He's 4 laps down now. Ulrich Diaker has done 33 laps. He's done 31. So I think Ronald Childs has unfortunately forfeited the car. Seems to be an accident for the 96 car. Let's go and have a look where the 96 car is. Oh, that was Randy Burke. Cool. So that is the one that we obviously just saw. But really unfortunate thing there to see Ronald Childs actually being the first official DNF of this race. But talking about that, Johan Blichnote is saying no to that, setting the fastest lap time at 1:41.245. So he's definitely fighting back up after that drive-through, but he just does not have the time, nor the very fast and consistent pace to try and catch back up to his teammate sitting in first, Peter Meyer, who is now 1.3 seconds ahead of Harry Duplessis, and currently making a very good impression of what that car can do. He has definitely had a bit of a rough season in that Porsche. We've seen it over the whole course of the season. He's lost the rear a lot. He hasn't enjoyed it as much as he hoped he would. And he's definitely regretted choosing that car, I think. And he's definitely going to be choosing a new car at the next season, the Season 20 race coming out or later. Season 20 season, sorry, coming around later this year. And allowing for a little bit of change for all drivers, actually. So even some of these drivers, I mean, look at this. Second place. So second place, third place, fourth place, fifth place, sixth place, seventh place. Okay, well, it was 8th place, but then Mark Henry had to ruin it with the Honda. But all of those drivers in the Ferrari 296. So currently the most common car on grid, the Ferrari 296. We're seeing it everywhere. Ian Upton also rocking the Ferrari. Gerard Pretorius rocking the Ferrari. Jakub Hrubler rocking that Ferrari as well. And Mustafa Narodian, who is 29th. Ulrich Diaker rocking that Ferrari. I mean, there's so many drivers in this championship who are using the Ferrari. So maybe potentially, I don't think we will, but maybe coming into next season, we could potentially see a little bit of change up. You know, people trying some new cars out. You know, trying to be a little bit more unique. We've got a couple of drivers doing that. We've got the likes of Wessel Voda trying to be unique. And obviously the likes of Mark Henry in that Honda, which is being very unique. Like, that's pushing it, Mark, in my opinion. That's pushing it. That car is a monster to drive. Not monster in a good way. Monster in a very difficult and uncontrollable under-the-bed monster kind of way. And he's managing it very well. Mark Henry, very good at managing those rough rider cars and keeping it consistent. He's got the likes of Bradley Searle. A little bit up in front of him in the Ferrari. That's actually a backmarker Pandacity just in front of Mark Henry. But still doing incredibly well. Feist Tower, also someone we've seen struggling in and out of the season. Up in 4th place now. So great stuff from him as well to get that Ferrari of the self-driven team of 5-star very well up there. And Carrie Duplessis, does that look like he's right? Oh, Carrie Duplessis is right on the back of Peter Meyer now. I think Peter Meyer might have actually had a bit of a slow lap there, or somewhat of a slow lap. He's alongside Peter Meyer now. Peter Meyer needs to watch out to not do the same thing that he did last night and go on the sausage curbs like he did. He's also got the likes of Jody Siedemann behind him, who is a back marker trying to put pressure. So Peter Meyer seeming very angry now that he's just lost his first place position to Harry Duplessis of the Cramadulas Racing. And this could have been maximum points for Peter Meyer. Unfortunately, he's now got to do what he can to try and chase down Harry Duplessis. With 14 minutes left of this race, they also need to watch out to not fight too hard. They've got 4 minutes left of this pit window. It would be absolutely catastrophic if they focus too much on what's going on around the track and not according to the times, because if they miss out on that pit window, it's over. But talking about it, Peter Meyer has thought, cool, I'm slow, I'm not getting this guy, he's just overtaking me, let me take my chance, get in the pit lane, get potentially a fresh new set of tires on, get the car filled up, get my mandatory pit stop over with, and continue racing for those last couple of minutes. So Harry Duplessis, now our pole sitter for the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star GT3 Pro-Am Championship here for round 7 at Kyalami. So great stuff from him to progress further onwards, and he is going to continue to try and pull ahead of everyone else here. So Johan Viviers is his next competition, but he's 8 seconds behind. Peter Meyer now coming out of the pit lane, so a little bit of a splash and dash. He's coming out just in front of Feistar, so keeping third place, thankfully. Feistar actually just around the outside of Peter Meyer, but unfortunately having that outside line does not mean he gets to carry the momentum that Peter Meyer does. And we got 3 minutes left of this pit window. Harry Duplessis, Johan Viviers, Feistar, Bradley Searle, and Jaco Krubler, the only drivers left on track to do their pit stops. So let's see, Jaco Krubler has been maintaining this car and not doing any form of pit stop. Here he comes around Cheetah. Will he be going into the pit finally? Yep, okay, finally he decides, cool, now's the time, let's head into pit lane. We've given this commentator enough stress of being so low down and not going into the pit lane. And, I mean, maybe it was just for screen time, you know. I mean, commentator sees the guy so far down that hasn't pitted, and potentially, hey, that can deserve me a camera spot on the Pro-Am stream. I mean, he got it. I've been monitoring him for quite a while now. But, I mean, 12 minutes left now. We've got 2 minutes and 40 seconds. If the following drivers, the drivers who need to do their pits, if they don't do it this lap, they are going to be playing it very, very risky. So Carrie Duplessis comes in, Johan Viviers comes in, will Feistar come in, here he comes around the corner. Will he stay out? I don't think. It's going to be close if he stays out. Feistar comes in, okay. He's not playing it risky. Bradley Searle. Will Bradley Searle be playing it risky? I don't think he will. I think he'll be following the rest of the team straight. He's the last Pandazzi member to do pit stops. Will he be pulling that car in? And indeed he is. So pulling in for them, the Pandazzi Infiltrate Esports Ferrari. And that means everyone on track has now completed their pit stops. So unfortunately, let's have a look where the likes of Jaco Krubler comes out in 23rd. So losing about 6 or 7 positions. Harry Duplessis now pulling that pit stop. Where is Peter Meyer? So Peter Meyer just behind Harry Duplessis. Unfortunately, the undercut not working. You can see Harry Duplessis just a little bit ahead there. 1.5 seconds now. And they've got 11 minutes left of racing here. Will Peter Meyer be able to catch up to Harry Duplessis in these last 11 minutes and potentially take that podium, or that first place on the podium, back? Or will he be stuck in second place? He's got the back marker there of Dani Steenkamp, I believe, in front of him, who's going around the track there for the Griffin Sim Racing team. And he's making it a little bit more difficult for Peter Meyer to try and get back. Richard van Heerden also coming around the bends here at the hills of Kyalami, coming up onto Mineshaft and Leocorp. And great stuff so far from him. Also trying to chase down. He's now up into 3rd position. Johan Viviers has lost out completely after those pit stops. He's under pressure from Mark Henry and Chris Collison, who is coming up at Leocorp now and going to come down to Mineshaft. So great stuff from them. Garrett Bukes, our favorite man in the virtual grandstand, currently sitting in 7th position, has not had the best of runs here, unfortunately. We were expecting, you know, a little bit higher finishing position here, maybe a second or third, but unfortunately he's sitting in 7th position, and I think all of that chaos happened when he got a bad run on that one lap, and all of a sudden Richard van Heerder appeared and a bunch of other guys appeared. So yeah, so absolutely. But another person in chat, Hansi Myberg, in the virtual grandstand, saying season 20 is still this year, not next year. Yes, so I have been falsely mentioning and correctly mentioning. I have mentioned that season 20 will be later this year, but then unfortunately my intrusive text sometimes takes over, with seasons commonly being referred to as years. So yeah, so unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, the RACEFACE season 20, let me make this clear, is not next year. It is still definitely happening at the end, near the end phases of this year, not next year. So it's definitely happening in 2024. Season 21 will definitely be in 2025. But man, the season and year connection, the collaboration, it sometimes gets confusing for a simple-minded person like me. But thank you for clearing that up. Hansi Myberg, the RACEFACE admin, actually there in the virtual grandstand, giving a bit of a heads up there, and making sure that everyone is clear, because sometimes I speak a little bit of stupidity. But continuing on with this race, we've got 9 minutes left now. Peter Meyer is now 2 seconds away, so he's actually losing time to Harry Duplessis. We're starting to go dark here at Kyalami, which means track temps are going to be dropping. We're at 22 degrees right now here at Kyalami, so potentially losing a little bit of PSIs in those tires, especially with the Porsche being a little bit of a lighter car. Not too much pressure on those tires compared to the other cars, and he's going to have to try and keep that car stable and clean. He's actually got the back marker, the same car as him, Ruan Liebenberg, I believe, just behind him. Ruan Liebenberg is indeed fighting with Donnie Steenkamp behind him, and these two have been going at it, but they cannot risk the blue flag driver of Peter Meyer in front, so they have to just watch out to not undercut and take it over. But another little bit of a mention in the virtual grandstand, Hansi Myberg coming up with a couple of dates that you guys need to diarize. Everyone in the virtual grandstand, you need to diarize these dates, as these are important. So 28th of September 2024, we'll be having our Kyalami, well, the mid-rand M570 Enduro. We saw that happen in that 1 year where the Kyalami 9-hour was cancelled due to load shedding, and the M570 Enduro took effect. That's a 9.5 hours of Kyalami. So awesome thing to come and participate in. I participated in myself with the Omnius Gaming team. It was an absolutely fantastic event, and they're going to continue to release an absolutely banger event and continue to, you know, release the event over and over again. Then season 20, the official season 20 of the RACEFACE.PRO GT3 Championship, that will be on the 17th of October. That will be from 17th of October to the 5th of December. So make sure you diarize that. That'll be every Wednesday and Thursday night for the sprint and the championship. And then on the 26th of October will be Mount Panorama 12-hour. So Bathurst 12-hour. Also a pinnacle race that we often have to go through and see. One of the coolest races to actually watch. Lots and lots of fluctuations there in the Australian track of Mount Panorama. Lots of incidents that do indeed happen. And always an interesting watch for lots and lots of the drivers and spectators. But unfortunately for the commentators, 12 hours of commentating, it gets quite hectic. But as long as the drivers keep it entertaining, it's always a phenomenal one to watch. But continuing down, have I lost my mouse? I believe I've lost my mouse. There it is. I found my mouse. Don't worry. So Harry Duplessis is still sitting in first, 1.6 seconds now with 6 minutes left of this race to Peter Meyer in second. Richard van Heerder in third with 5.7 second gap. Mark Henry in fourth, tailing them a little bit further behind with 10-second gap. Johan Verveers trying to catch up to Mark Henry. There's a little bit of fight here for fourth between Mark Henry, Johan Verveers, and Chris Collison in sixth. Lots and lots of pressure coming from these three drivers to try and make it to the end here. 6 minutes left. So we're looking at about 1 minute 40-second lap times. That's about, well, if you took it as 2 minutes, that would be 3 laps left. So it's about 3.5 to 4 laps left of racing here, depending on when the race leader does indeed cross the line. Peter Meyer is catching up to the race leader. You can see him just in front. But will Peter Meyer be able to catch him before the end of this race? That is going to be the champion, no, not the championship, the round 7 Kyalami win decider coming into the final couple of minutes here at Kyalami. We've got just under 6 minutes left. Peter Meyer is now 1.3 seconds away. Richard van Heerde is also slowly starting to catch, but he's very far behind, and I don't think he's got the time, unfortunately, to catch up. And Mark Henry also is still very far behind. Johan Bluknoot, our current championship leader, is still sitting with the fastest lap time. Made it even faster now, 1:42.090, but unfortunately sitting in 14th. So if he didn't have that drive-through, I think he would be sitting definitely up in the top 5, top 6 somewhere. That drive-through really did screw him over and pull him down very, very far down the list. Jonathan Chislett also done phenomenally well to keep it up in the top 15. He's currently sitting behind the championship leader. And Henry Platt, the driver from Team Tryhard Racing, him and his teammate Gavin Scruton have been together, but they've unfortunately been separated now. Gavin Scruton up in 12th and Henry Platt down in 17th for the Team Tryhard Racing McLarens. And they've been together for most of the race. Unfortunately, coming into effect, Bradley Searle has started to put a bit of a blocking into that place, making it very hard for Henry Platt to try and hit consistent lap times. We seem to have an accident with number 619. I believe is Jason Landsberg. Let's flash back 60 seconds to see if we can see this. See if we can possibly catch this incident. It was with an incident with number 777. So that's Reginald Mittelani, who's behind him. Potentially an incident going into turn 1. They're very far behind. I think I might have accidentally missed the crash already. As Reginald Mittelani is very far behind Jason Landsberg, as you can see him over there. So I believe that incident was a little bit further back. Unfortunately, we're just missing out on that incident. But so far, both drivers involved in that incident okay. As you can see, they're still racing. And that looked like, who was that? That was the back marker, Ron van der Walt, I believe, giving way. No, not Ron van der Walt. There's quite a couple of these Pandacity drivers. Clint Langeveld? Yes. That is indeed Clint Langeveld. Unfortunately, having to give way to the likes of Jason Landsberg. Now we have to do it for the likes of Reginald Mittelani. He's now got 5-star, who's putting pressure on him, flashing him like crazy to let him know, hey, I'm behind you. Please let me pass. And there we go. He lets him pass. Here up the inside, here comes the likes of, I believe, Gavin Scruton in 12th position, also making that overtake. Ian Upton coming in through as well. And now Johan Bluknoot will also be on the back of, unfortunately, the likes of Clint Langeveld, who's going to have to move over quite a lot of drivers here. We've got 3 minutes left of racing here. I want to flash back up to the top just to see the gap. And oh my goodness, they've definitely made it raceable up until the end. Peter Meyer now 0.2 seconds away from the likes of Harry Duplessis. The driver behind that you see in the background over there is unfortunately not racing. That's Wessel Voda. He's currently in 25th position, a little bit further behind these two drivers. And man, this is going to be a race to watch up until the end. 2.5 minutes left. We're looking at about just 2 laps left, depending on when the race leader does cross the line. And Peter Meyer is going to be pushing it up until the end. He's going to be pushing it like crazy and hoping that everything can stay consistent as possible. And he wants to try and take first place back away from Harry Duplessis. He had first place. He's unfortunately starting to increase his gap now, 0.5 seconds to Harry Duplessis, which is unfortunately a little bit unfortunate. He's going to continue to push it though. Everyone else though seems to be starting to fade away. I see a very big train there. Here we go. I managed to actually lock in straight to that train. Reginald Mittelani currently leading. Well, actually it's Jason Landsberg leading the train for 9th and 10th. As you can see, it's a very long train coming down that hill. Jason Landsberg, Reginald Mittelani, Feist-Tar, who's actually looking up the inside of Reginald Mittelani to try and make an overtake. Johan Bluknoot also coming into play now, 13th. He's unfortunately going to lose out points to his rival right now, which is Garrett Bukes, currently sitting in 7th position. You can actually see their listings highlighted. Garrett Bukes in red and Johan Bluknoot in purple with the fastest lap time. And we have an accident. I'm hoping it's not the championship leaders currently. In car number 777, that's Reginald Mittelani. I believe he made contact there with Feist-Tar coming into Ingwe. Let's have a look at it. Reginald Mittelani. Oh, and there's someone. Oh, big accident there in the background. Actually, massive, massive accident. That was involving a couple of drivers there. But unfortunately, we cannot flash back just yet because we have got a race fight for the win over here between Peter Meyer and Harry Duplessis. These two are 0.5 seconds away from each other. We are on final lap now. So the drivers are going to be coming around the final couple of corners here. Down mineshaft. Will it be enough for Harry Duplessis to stay ahead of Peter Meyer? We're going to have to watch and see. Very, very close race there from all of them. Peter Meyer has led most of this race, and unfortunately, the strategies being pulled were just in favor of Harry Duplessis. But from the looks of it, it almost looks like we're going to have one more lap here. We've got 30 seconds left. We're coming into Ingwe already. It definitely does not take 25 seconds to get onto the main straight. So we're going to be seeing another lap here. Here comes Harry Duplessis. He's going to be crossing the line. He cannot slow down to try and shorten that time because Peter Meyer will overtake him. And they've started their final lap. There we go. Onto the final lap of the race now. Harry Duplessis and Peter Meyer. A little bit of a gap now between each other. 0.7 seconds. Will it be enough for Peter Meyer to take back that position in first place? Or will he unfortunately remain in second? Johan Blucknote now up into the position of 11th. He's already overtaken Ian Upton and might potentially get a top 10 here if he can chase down Feistar in time. But I believe his race might almost be over. They're going to be coming across the line here. But they're still going to be continuing as the leaders are racing still. Harry Duplessis, Peter Meyer is still closing in very, very nicely over there. 0.5 seconds now. Noob Muncher joining in saying close race for first and second. Nice and exciting. Definitely so. Oh, and Peter Meyer has unfortunately lost the car. Very, very unfortunate. He's going to completely lose out there. Here comes a couple of more drivers. So Peter Meyer pushing too hard and losing the car into the wall. Again, the Porsche and the curbs, unfortunately. I think he'll keep the podium position. I don't think Richard van Heerden is close enough. As you can see, Richard van Heerden just down the rail. Peter Meyer's just got to keep that car going up until the final point of the line. But unfortunately, that means that his chance of winning is completely eradicated as Harry Duplessis will be coming across the line in first place. And very unfortunate to see when drivers just push a little bit too hard and lose the car. Something we just saw from Peter Meyer, just trying to push it up until the final corner. Thankfully, Peter Meyer didn't have the third place driver just behind him. Otherwise, he would have unfortunately lost that as well. So, fortunate stuff for Harry Duplessis coming across the line for the Kramadulas Racing Team. He takes first place. Peter Meyer will unfortunately come across with a broken Porsche for Omnius Gaming. Coming into second place, finishing still very well. Richard van Heerden in the Project Vapor Ferrari Green Hulk coming across. Here comes Mark Hennery in fourth position, followed by Chris Collison with a top 5. Absolutely amazing. Johan Blucknote, Jan Verveer, sorry, coming into sixth. Garrett Bukes, our favorite in the virtual grandstand, coming around in 7th position. You can see the beautiful colors of the South African flag being shown in smoke. And here comes Garrett Bukes, crosses the line. Gerrit Pretorius coming across. Jason Landsberg in 9th coming across as well. Feistar, who's been fighting very hard, coming into 10th. And Johan Blucknote, after that unfortunate drive-through, finishes off in 11th. Ian Upton crosses the line. Jonathan Chislett fighting for position with Henry Platt onto the final corner there. Bradley Searle, all of them fighting for position coming into the final corner. Very, very close call over there. And a couple of drivers still coming through. Arno Kraus, he's got the likes of Mustafa Narodian in front. Unfortunately, that is a blue flag for him, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Rowan van der Walt also coming across through Ingwe now. And he's going to be coming across the line, shedding a little bit of those tires as he comes across the final corner. But, wow. Very, very exciting race coming into the final couple of minutes there. Unfortunately, Peter Meyer losing the rear end of that car and ruining his chances of winning the race or contesting Harry Duplessis for the win. So unfortunate stuff from him. Reginald Mitteleni coming across the line in 23rd. He actually lost out big time. I think he might have spun actually because he was doing pretty well. But very unfortunate things over there. Great race though, and we'll be seeing you guys in the comms box before we head over to our next section, which is our interview. So see you guys there. Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back in the commentary box after an absolutely spectacular race over there that we saw. Phenomenal, phenomenal stuff coming into the final couple of minutes into the race. Unfortunately, Peter Meyer losing out the drive to Harry Duplessis in the final couple of minutes. But absolutely amazing stuff for some of those drivers. Everyone keeping it nice and clean and consistent, but great stuff all around. And we're just going to wait for some of the guys to come through and join the commentary box. I'm just trying to get everyone in here. Let's get everyone in here. We are still waiting for 2 more drivers. I do see our race winner is waiting for us. Let's see what happens. We're just still waiting for a couple more drivers to come through. Okay, we're going to give it another 2 or so minutes to see if people start joining the interviews room. Alright, so we've got 2 of our drivers. Hello. Okay. Hello. Okay, cool. Awesome. We're all good. Cool. We've got all of our drivers ready for interviews. We are going to bring in our 3rd runner, which is going to be the likes of Richard van Heerden. Let's swap over. Richard van Heerden, congratulations for finishing on the podium spot. 3rd position for you. How are you feeling?
Hello?
There we go. I can hear you.
Sorry, I had a bit of a problem here. Sorry, you were saying, Tristan.
All good, all good. I was just saying congratulations on the top 3 finish. How are you feeling?
Thank you. Exhausted. That took a lot of concentration. Thank you.
Absolutely. No, definitely. One question I just want to confirm with you. I hope you've been fine with me calling you the Green Hulk of the Pro-Am division. That car has been representing the Hulk. You've been smashing it through the circuit as the Hulk. And I think you're going to continue to do it for the next round. How are you feeling going into round 8 Nürburgring?
Yeah, no, Nürburgring's a tough track, compared to Kyalami. Kyalami, we do a lot of real-life racing, so I know the track well. But Nürburgring's was that's a toughy one for me. But hopefully Bluchnout can have, Johan Bluchnout can have another bad day off, and we can all get some points against him again.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's definitely going to be a tight championship running going towards the final round at Nürburgring next week. But, I mean, the pressure is absolutely on for all of the drivers. You've done incredibly well at Kyalami over here. I'm going to give you the floor to mention anything that you want to, possibly mention your team, any drivers that you practice with, and our amazing sponsors. You may go for it.
Yeah, no, thanks to all the sponsors. It's actually nice to race on something formal, and thank to you for my son just sent me a message saying, well done, Dad, because he was watching it. So it's nice that he's able to watch it in his stream. So well done to all the guys for making it happen. And and the Project Vapor, our team, all the support they give us is lekker. Thanks very much, guys. Yeah, it was lekker. And the drivers and the back markers today, all the traffic, guys with blue flags, the race was good. So the driving standards is a much higher level than it was a couple of seasons back. So it's really enjoyable.
Absolutely. Well, that's always an amazing thing to hear here at RACEFACE. But Richard van Heerden, I'm going to give you the night to go and celebrate with the family. Congratulations again for finishing top 3 here at Kyalami. Absolutely incredible stuff. And we hope to see you next week for round 8.
Got Tristan, appreciate it.
Alrighty, so we just had a chat with our 3rd place interview. We're going to be moving on to our 2nd place interview. Very, very close call actually between our 1st place and 2nd place interview, but we're going to be calling and having a chat to Peter Meyer. Peter Meyer, you've managed to finish off in 2nd place here at Kyalami, unfortunately managing to lose the card there just on the final couple of minutes. How are you feeling?
Not happy.
Not happy. I can imagine.
No, not at all, bro.
I can absolutely imagine. Well, I mean, it's been an absolutely crazy race. You led most of the race sitting in 1st with that Porsche. What was going on? Or was it the pit strategy that went wrong, or what was happening?
Everything was fine. In terms of my pace was actually from what I could gather, the fastest average pace in the whole field. And from the rest, everything was fine. My pit stop and everything was fine. It's the back markers, dude. The back markers kept backing me up into the open 2nd place, whether it was Viviers or Duplessis. The back markers were just a pain.
Yeah, I can imagine the back markers. There was quite a lot. We saw a lot of action of constant swapping between back markers and blue flags. But, I mean, how are you feeling going into round 8? You obviously took a lot of championship points home here in round 2 over here at Kyalami in 2nd place. How are you feeling for round 3 at Nürburgring? Are you looking for another podium finish?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping to win the next one, but I'm not really looking at the championship. I can't win it. It's already done. So looking towards the next season.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I'm going to give you the floor to address anything you want possibly addressing your team, anybody you worked with, the amazing sponsors here at RaceFace, and you may have at it.
No, I don't really have anyone to say thanks to unless Gideon, yeah, Marsh, that helped me so much for this race. Last race I was flipping 14th, now I qualified first, so yeah, that helped me a lot.
Absolutely. Well, have an amazing night further. Thank you so much for attending here at RaceFace, and again, well done. A little bit of an unfortunate race, but still managing to salvage some amazing points. So, hope you have a good night of celebrations and stuff. We're still finishing in the podium position, and we'll see you next week for round 8 at Nürburgring.
Thanks, Tracy. Cheers, boy.
Alrighty, so we've just finished off our second place interview. We're going to be moving on to our first place interview of Harry Duplessis, who has managed to take the first place just by the nick of the belt there, taking first place just after the pit strategies. And Harry, how are you feeling, man?
Yo, tired. I can finally breathe, like 80 minutes straight racing.
Yeah, I know. It's quite a pain to commentate the whole time, but it's an absolute beauty when you guys give such absolutely amazing and entertaining racing. I mean, how were you feeling through that? You were obviously gathering it up in the top 10 over there, and then after pit strategies, you pulled yourself up into the top 2 and then into first place. So what was going on there? Did you pull a good pit strategy or what?
Yeah, I could just feel with the tires I had still at good pace in the first stint. So when I saw Fafish going for the pit stop, I thought, like, well, you're just gonna have to do a good in lap now, and got that sorted, pitted. So I overcut him, and then I just had my eyes on P1, kind of reeling him in. And then, yeah, when we got out the pits, we were like head to head, like going. I had to try and go on the outside into T1, but yeah, he got it on me, and I just had to follow him. It was like 1.5 seconds, then I got 1.2, 1.5, and yeah, at some point, when I got my opportunity, I just had to stick it into the S's. It was maybe my last chance that I had, and I took it, and it kind of worked out.
Well, absolutely. You showed some amazing racecraft here tonight, managing to actually change it up here on the final couple of minutes. You brought some amazing source of entertainment, but how are you feeling going into round 8 at Nürburgring next week for the finale of the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star GT3 Pro Am Championship?
Yeah, it's some bad luck in the beginning, or the first part of the season. So having a win now, just gonna build and then try and get another win at the finale. So excited to be at least some things working out now. So yeah, excited to get into the next round and the final round.
Absolutely. Well, that's amazingly incredible. Again, well done to you for bringing it home in first position. I'm going to give you the floor to address anything that you have in mind, possibly anyone that assisted you tonight, your team, if you are a part of any, and also the amazing sponsors here at RaceFace.
Yeah, I just want to say thanks for the sponsors, like you said, like making this possible and giving us the opportunity to race like we do. And then, yeah, definitely to my teammates, they do help out with the strategies and making sure that we try and execute whatever we plan. And yeah, like Vessel, that's also racing Pro-Am, he was like sitting just behind me in second place, like saying, okay, now you're fine now, like he's sliding around. So yeah, thanks guys for the support. And then just as a team, ons is nie last nie. Yeah, thanks for everyone that watched.
We are not lost poet. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having this interview with you. Go ahead and have a great night of celebrations, putting off first here at our home race at Kyalami, and we hope to see you next week at the Nürburgring.
Yeah, thank you very much, and also yeah, thanks for the time that you put in to commentate on this race.
Absolutely zero worries. I enjoyed every second of it.
Cool, awesome. Thank you very much.
Alrighty, and that is indeed going to include or declude, or what is my English? That is going to conclude our interviews for Kyalami. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to some of those drivers. We had a very interesting race. We saw it last night in the sprint. We saw it tonight. The constant action that they bring us here at RaceFace. So please, guys, this was our second race. Do not miss out next week. We are heading to Germany at the Nürburgring for our finale for both the Sprint Series of Season 12 and the Championship for Season 19. The Pro Stream sponsored by PokerBet being our main title sponsor, and then the Pro-Am being the track experience sponsorship by Red Star Raceway. Make sure to go and have a look at all of our sponsors. Obviously, they are listed below: Ardendorf Machinery, SA Lube, Scallywags, PokerBet, and of course Red Star Raceway. And go ahead and check out all their socials. Follow them. Check out anything that they might be giving away, the giveaways, and also just make sure that you keep up to date with them. Keep up to date with RaceFace. Go drop on fat like on this stream. Make sure that you guys keep up to date with any of the following things. As you know, we'll be going into season break after this. After round 8 at Nürburgring, we'll be going into a little bit of a phase of break, and then we'll be back, like Hansi Meyerberg mentioned, on the 17th of October. Yeah, on the 17th of October, we'll be back with season 20 after round 8 next week. So make sure to tune in, make sure to stay here for the RACEFACE.PRO, Red Star Raceway, and PokerBet GT3 Sprint and Main Championship races next week. And thank you everybody for coming and watching. Thank you for everybody who took their time out to come and support some of the drivers. It's been an absolute pleasure commentating, and we'll see you guys next week at Nürburgring. Have a great night, everybody, and we'll see you guys next week. Cheers.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, what an absolute blazer of a season we've had so far. 7 rounds done and dusted and put in the bag. Multiple champions coming into the fight, multiple class winners. I mean, this has been incredible stuff. But now, round 7's behind us. We're looking to round 8 as we head to the Nürburgring to see who's going to win our GT3 Championship and our GT3 Sprint Series and get that prize pool at the end. With all the amazing racing that comes to you weekly, we have to give acknowledgement to our sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible here at RACEFACE.PRO. So starting off with our first sponsor, let's go and take your hats off to PokerBet. For all the tournaments, for all the cash games, daily free rolls, and sports betting, there's no better place to be and win with PokerBet. With it all revved up and you're looking for high speed, whether you're into drag, drift, or even long circuit, Red Star Raceway has got you covered. As we take a look off to all our machinery needs, head over to Oddendorf Machinery Mart. Remember to keep it slick with SA Lube, 20 years of Castrol distribution. Sliding in to keep you on your toes, Scallywags Drift Academy will keep you right at the top of the pack. And if you're looking for all your streaming needs, head over to Tenvo Tech for all the overlays. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been an honor having you. We'll see you next time right here from the THT Productions.